What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the Samurai Radio Sports Network. And today we're going to be talking about my picks for the 2017-2018 NFL season, week number 2. And I'm really enjoying this week, or at least like the fact that I'll be able to watch football this week, because last week being unable to because of Irma, and now of course there's another tropical storm Maria that's supposed to become a hurricane that's going to probably maybe hit us, which isn't the greatest thing in the entire world. But with that being the case, these are my picks for the week number 2 here in the NFL season. Now, the first thing to note is that I didn't do anything for Texans-Bengals, so those picks aren't mine, so that's just Texans 1. And for whatever reason, even though I saved everything on this, I guess since I don't have an actual account, it didn't save my picks, so I only have that video to go back to look at them. But either way, that's just my season predictions. I want to do weekly things. I was going to do it last week, but the fact that I wasn't able to because of Hurricane Irma, I can do it this week. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So we start off with game number 1 in terms of the AFC side, and on Dolphins Chargers. That one's at 4 o'clock in LA. The Dolphins coming off of a technical bye, but it's going to be their first game of the season. Now with Lawrence Simmons not playing, I still think, regardless if he was playing or not, that it was going to be a tight game, just like it was last year. I think although the Chargers played well last week against the Broncos, I still think that the Chargers as well as the Dolphins are both, in terms of, I think that they have the possibility to be good, but they are mediocre in certain positions. And I think regardless of having Keenan Allen or not, regardless of the Dolphins not having Ryan Tannehill and having Jay Cutler instead, I don't think that it really makes a difference at all. So because of the fact that I don't think it's going to make a difference, I think it's going to be a very tight game, and I think the Dolphins will win 27-24. And that's just that. I mean, that's what I think is going to happen. I think that one's going to be a really tight game. I think the Dolphins are going to be able to pull it out. I hope that they can, obviously being a Dolphins fan, but I do think they'll pull it out, and they'll go 1-0 on the season. So with that, we go to Titans-Jaguars. And this one's very interesting to me because I feel like a lot of people are riding the Jaguars as a really good team. Let me just check who the Jaguars... Last week, they played the Texans, and they won. But I still think that this isn't necessarily a very good Jaguars team. I don't think that they... How do I get back to week 2? I don't know how to get back to week 2. There we go. I don't think that they are a great football team. I don't think Blake Bortles is a franchise quarterback by any means. So I think this is all facade. I think this is all just, a bunch of bullshit. So I think the Titans are going to come out, and I think they're going to smack down on the Jaguars. If I had to give a score prediction, I'd probably say like 33-10. I don't see it. The only way I think it's possible is if Leonard Fournette rushes for like 150 yards, which is possible, but I just don't see it. Then we go to Raiders-Jets. I think the Raiders are going to drop a 50 bomb on the Jets. I'd probably go with like 55-3 or something like that. I think there's no other explanation. I think the Jets are the worst team in football, and we're probably tied with the Colts for the worst team in football, actually. I think I very much overestimate how the Colts would play in my season predictions because I assumed that Andrew Luck would be there, and that regardless, we'd still see some bright spots on the team, but it's not looking so, which is a little unfortunate, but whatever, honestly. So then we go to Browns-Ravens. Now, the Browns surprised me last week. I didn't watch the game, but I was able to see the highlights on Wednesday when I finally got my power back. I basically spent that whole night watching highlights from all the games. And the Browns just really surprised me, especially with Deshaun Kaiser. I think that they played very well. And I think a lot of people are raving and, being super happy about the Pittsburgh Steelers. But Le'Veon Bell didn't have a good game. And honestly, the Steelers should have lost that game. 21-18 against the Cleveland Browns, starting a second-round QB who was projected number 1 overall pick earlier in the year. I think that it's a possibility that it could beat the Ravens, but I think that the Ravens' defense, which is much better than the Steelers' defense, is just, I don't know. I think the Browns could pull off with a win, but I don't see it happening. I'd probably go with 21-17 Ravens or somewhere along those lines. But I do think that will be a tight game just because I think that the Browns are a much better team than they were last year with Deshaun Kaiser at the helm. And then Broncos Cowboys. Now the Broncos played a very sloppy game last week against the Chargers. Well, I guess you could say earlier this week, but they played a very sloppy game, and I don't think a lot of people realized it at the time, but they did play a very, very sloppy game. And a lot of people were raving and, talking all about Trevor Siemian. But remember, if that pick six early on in the game was caught, then that game instantly switches, and it's probably a Chargers win, field goal blocked. It's probably a Chargers, at least they go into OT. So I don't know. I think the Broncos are going to come back and bounce back with a better game. I think that their defense is going to be able to outhold the Cowboys offense, but with Zeke being there, I don't know, because they have the greatest offensive line in football, but the Broncos easily have the best defensive backs in football, the 1-2 punch. I think the Giants are second right there, but we'll talk about the Giants after that. But I mean, you have Aqib Talib and Chris Harris Jr. I think that's the best 1-2 punch you can get. Then you have Brandon Marshall, Von Miller. I mean, you have Shaq Barrett. I think it's just a great team. Shane Ray. I think the Cowboys lose. I think it's a close one. I'd probably say Broncos 30-27 in OT. Yeah. I think it'll be high scoring, but I still think it'll be a good defensive affair. So I'll go with 30-27 just because I feel like, I don't know. That's just what I'm going to say. 30-27 in OT. Eagles, Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are very overrated from what they won last week. They were playing a Patriots defense that's probably one of the worst in the league. I mean, they have two good corners in Malcolm Butler and Stephon Gilmore. But besides that, if one player in that defense goes down, then the whole thing basically just goes and diminishes. As much as we all like to give the Patriots, credit for having great depth, I think that they don't on defense right now. I could see if the Saints defense was a little bit better in terms of the Patriots-Saints game, I would give the Saints the win. But right now, Eagles-Chiefs, I think the Chiefs really exposed the Patriots defense, and they had a very good defense playing that night. So I think it's good, but I give the Eagles the win. I think Carson Wentz is the real deal. I've been thinking that since last year. I thought that Jared Goff was overrated, but we'll get into that as well. So Eagles over the Chiefs. Eagles improved to 2-0 on the season. Cardinals, Colts, easy. I think the Colts are the worst team in football along with the Jets. So I'd probably say Cardinals, even without David Johnson, like 27-10. Something like that. Bills, Panthers. I think Panthers bounce back. They played a sloppy game last week. So I think they'll bounce back and play better. Cam played sloppy too. I think they'll improve to 2-0 on the year. Patriots, Saints. Like I said, I think that the Patriots defense got exposed. But if the Saints defense was better, the Saints would easily win this one. But because the Saints defense is not great, probably once again one of the worst in football, I think this is going to be a high-scoring affair. I'd probably give it 34-31 Patriots. Vikings, Steelers. Like I said, I think the Steelers are very overrated from their performance last week. A lot of people are saying those triple Bs. And I like to give the Steelers a credit. They're, my division winner in the AFC North. I want to make sure that they're, still playing to their strengths. But I don't know. I think that they're way too overrated. But I think the Vikings without Sam Bradford aren't going to be able to pull the win off. If they had Sam Bradford, I'd give them an easy W. But without Sam, I got to give them a loss on that one. Then we go to the NFC Strictly games. This is where things get a little interesting. Bears, Buccaneers. Bucs coming off of a bye, but the Bears going against the defending NFC champions and the Falcons last week exposed the Falcons. The Falcons plays horrible last week. I think the Bears are a much improved defense. I saw a lot of things out of Mike Glennon that I liked. And with Mike Glennon returning to Tampa, I think that he can beat the Buccaneers. And I think the Bears can actually surprise a lot of people. I mean, I was convincingly shocked with how they played against the Falcons. So we'll see about that one. Redskins, Rams. I think the Redskins are a good team, but I just think they aren't clicking. I think Kirk Cousins is struggling without offensive coordinator. and I think that was Sean McVay, right? That was his offensive coordinator. And I think that he's struggling without having Pierre Garçon and Deshaun Jackson. He has two new number 1 and 2s. I think the Rams, although they were playing the Colts, played a very good game. It looked like they were composed, and it looks like they opened the playbook to Jared Goff, which is something that I liked. They basically let Jared Goff expand what he had, and now he has a lot of weapons around him. So I think that this works out perfectly for them. So 49ers, Seahawks. Seahawks are going to, I think, will destroy the 49ers. Packers, Falcons, and Lions, Giants are my games of the week. Obviously, Sunday night, Monday night football, they should be the best games, primetime games, but these are my games of the week. So let's get right into it. Packers against the Falcons. Like I said, I think the Falcons were exposed last week, and I think that they're going to be exposed again this week. I think Aaron Rodgers, as it stands right now, with Brady having a bad game last week, is the best quarterback in football right now. I think that I don't know. I think father time catches a lot of people. I think it'll catch Aaron Rodgers sooner rather than later. It's now catching up to Eli Manning. Now, a lot of people can say that they didn't think that Eli was elite before then, but it's hard for a quarterback to be elite when you don't have any targets. And people will say, well, look at Brady. He's never had targets. Well, Brady, when you look at Brady, he isn't an elite quarterback in terms of his, a lot of people are saying, well, his intangibles and stuff like that. It's not one of those what you say like elite quarterbacks. You can't, do some of the things that Aaron Rodgers can do, or do some of the things that, like, for example, Dan Marino or someone like that, or anything along those lines, right? But he is the greatest mind in football. Tom Brady has the greatest mind in football. He can teach a receiver how to be a receiver better than the receiver can be a receiver. He has the greatest mind in football. So that's why I think that he is the greatest quarterback of all time. But right now, currently, the greatest quarterback in football has to be Aaron Rodgers in terms of his play last week. I think it's a close one. I think it's going to be a great Sunday night game. I'll be watching it. I usually don't like watching Sunday night football because usually they're boring. Most of the time, Sunday night's boring. So is Monday night and Thursday night. Really, those primetime games haven't been any good recently. But, yeah, I think, man, I'll give it Packers. I think it'll be, I'm going to go 27-20. And then Lions, Giants. Man, the Giants defense is really good, but I think without Odell playing, I don't know. Without Odell playing, I think they lose a key part. Sorry, I think they lose a key part of their receiving core. And I think that they take an L. I'm going to give the Lions the game 24-10. I don't think the Giants offense will be able to get going. So that is all from me, guys. I hope you guys did very much enjoy this video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe for the less monotone videos. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. And as always, peace.